First off the bat, we have Armored Core with Keanu Reeves, and this was sick. It was really cool seeing Keanu on camera again, doing what he does best, be edgy. Great animation, but I didn't really know a lot of what was going on in terms of the overarching lore. I understood this small segment, but I'm gonna say, for the story's worth, probably a B. I would love to bump that up a little bit because of Keanu, but I'm gonna stick it there. Next, we have the game that nobody played, or 0.00001% of you. If you actually played this, please let me know in the comments. I'd be curious to know if literally anyone, even from my viewers watch this, played this. I don't expect anyone to really know the lore. I don't know if this complements it. I'm sure there's some small little Easter eggs they threw in for players, because they probably expected the game to still be going. But having it outlast everything and be here, it actually wasn't that bad. I don't think it was amazing, but I don't think it was horrific. It was an interesting Star Guardian story told with lots of fancy colors. Cool. Joining Keanu Reeves in B tier. Crossfire was so bad. It just didn't make sense to me. You have a military operation going on with very little context. I guess maybe that's just, FPS games, 5v5, whatever it may be, no context, throwing them in. But it'd be nice to have some kind of context in a short story. I don't really just want to watch shootouts, even if they are well choreographed, and this unfortunately wasn't fantastic. Obviously no issues with animation, everything is solid here, but it was really empty, and I found it really weird when they didn't kill the other sniper even though he's right in front of them. Just weird game logic that didn't really translate, maybe. D tier. Go straight to the bottom. D&D. This was fun. I played a few games of D&D in my life. I've DM'd a few games too, and I had a great time watching this. You could see races, spells, and everything was fairly clear. Even if you hadn't played D&D, I think it just makes a standard fantasy story, but you get a lot out of this if you do understand it more in depth. My girlfriend wouldn't stop raving about the lore implications of Tiamat and all the monsters and spells she could recognize, so she did enjoy that. I do think it was a great, strong start to Secret Level, and I'm happy to put that in the first in A tier. Exodus is a game that I've never played, and when I tried to follow the link on Wikipedia, it didn't really show me much because there was nothing there. Absolutely amazing short story. It might be my favorite, actually, between that and we'll see by the end of this, but it's definitely one of my top 2, top 3 animations out of this. The story was fantastic, it was paced so well, and it basically has the story of Interstellar but condensed into short story format, I guess. And it does it well. I actually feel like I didn't lose too much out of that. I really enjoyed watching the father follow his daughter into oblivion. Absolutely fantastic. Played a lot with the time dynamics that we've gotten used to in this kind of sci-fi environment, sci-fi space environment, and the emotions really translated. Absolutely phenomenal. Please go watch that one. S tier. Honor of Kings. This was a weird one for me because I looked up the gameplay. I'd never heard of it really, and it was just League of Legends Wild Rift, mobile League of Legends basically. That was weird because this is absolutely a phenomenal short story, but I don't think there's any lore to the game. I couldn't find anything on the internet. Players themselves were like, what? They just play the game. Fantastic battle between gods. Fantastic. Animation, feeling, atmosphere, S tier. One of my other top 2, top 3. No context needed? Fire at it. Mega Man was a bit disappointing. It's a prequel, so you didn't have to know really much about Mega Man going into this. I mean, if you knew the freeze gun and things like that, that's cool, but there is like 50 plus games in this franchise, and I guess this is a starting point. If you want to start Mega Man, you can watch this, be like, oh, I understand the context, and go straight in. I'm not sure if this is animated or portrayed in the stories to any level besides maybe dialogue, but there was nothing for me there. I didn't enjoy the animation that much, and the story was just short and somewhat meaningless, I guess. So it's gonna drop into C tier. New World, New Order. No, that's Wolfenstein. New World. Is it New World? Yeah, New World. it was great hearing Arnold there. I'm a big fan. How can you not be? I feel like it has very little to do with the game. I know they mentioned resource building and some other skill trees or whatever, but I feel like this is really just mostly a standalone story. That was a mistake. But I enjoyed that, so I guess that makes it not a mistake. It will stay in A tier. PacMan, what a wild ride. You you go into this with an expectation of what PacMan is, and they completely subvert it and do some weird eldritch horror. Very strange. I like strange things. Also had a little bit of different animation, which I'm a fan of when everything is realistic. It does eventually get a bit tiring seeing amazingly animated, but the artistic styles of some of the weird animations is what made Love, Death and Robots so cool and versatile. I'm popping this into A tier. Playtime, it sucks. It's basically just Sony fan service from PlayStation titles, and also not the titles not the titles I would completely associate with PlayStation. I think there's a lot of amazing IPs that could have made it on here, and they weren't really represented. I guess, it's trademarks, it's what they could get the licenses for, but just a showing of what Sony has. They're just waving their big fat dialogue of games in your face. You had God of War, Shadow of the Colossus, probably the two trademark Sonys I can see, but there could have been a lot more. I hope you saw the Easter eggs, or at least the video I did on the Easter eggs if you didn't catch them. That's the one thing it was good for. I like Easter eggs, but I hate this. It's in D tier. Sifu, this was probably the best animation or short story that translated the gameplay or the core gameplay mechanics into what I could visualize on the short story. It shows you exactly how it goes, and honestly, it makes me really want to play the game. Out of all of them, this one probably made me want to play the game the most. That goes into S tier, also for the cool animation that went with it. Spelunky, I've enjoyed saying this like so many times because it just rolls off the tongue. Spelunky, Spelunky, Spelunky. And you can really see it's a platformer. The way the story goes, it's very obvious, the multiple dying, the different obstacles. I'm sure there's a lot of lovely hidden hints from long-time players. I wish there was a bit more, and I wish the story was a little bit deeper, so I'm going to drop it in B tier. Outer Worlds, by the same writers as I believe Fallout. Absolutely fantastic. You can feel that vibe, the dystopian future controlled by large corporations. That doesn't sound that unique. Story? Characters? Amazing. I think the characters actually pull this through. Amos? Amazing, and I forget what the lead female's name, but their dynamic is great. I love seeing the emotion in that one. It's an S tier. Unreal Tournament? This was a lot of fun. I enjoyed this one. It's not a story we haven't seen before. Sci-fi, robot revolution, AI gains sentience. Here they are fighting for their lives, and I guess they win. A lot of fan service in the sense of hearing those little audio clips. And overall, a great standalone story. I think it does complement the Unreal Tournament games pretty well. Dropping it into A. Last but not least, we have Warhammer 40k. I was really worried going into this one because I feel like for anything Warhammer, you need a lot of information, lore going into this, and it can't just be a complete sync. I had no idea what was going on, I'll be dead honest, but the animation and the vibes are really cool, especially when they were killing the Mad Max Borderlands people. So cool, very cool. No idea what's going on, still cool. It goes into A tier. And that is basically how I feel about all the episodes. If you only want to check out the best ones, please check out the ones in S tier. Exodus, Honor of Kings, Sifu, and Outer Worlds. Absolutely fantastic short stories. You will not regret watching them. Everything up to A tier is also fantastic. Honestly, my cutoff would probably be around B. I wouldn't watch the last three, which is fairly generous. I think the majority of Secret Level did really well. I think where it lacks Strength is just when you don't have context for things, because if you miss the fan service, you miss a lot of the lore, you miss a lot of things that just push this to the next level. Maybe drop the B tier if you want, but if you have time to kill, I would watch those as well. These just not worth your time unless you're a fan of the games or franchises. That's about it. Thanks for popping in. Tell me if you agree or disagree, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.